Right. So we will talk about probably two of the most unconventional films of 2021 thus far. That would be Titan or Titane or Titanium or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and Lamb. Right. I will do the synopses for both, and we'll just jump into to thoughts on it. Right. So kicking things off, sorry, with Titan. Right. I'm just gonna call it Titan for now. Right. Um, I will try to keep things as spoiler free as possible, right? So,
Sure.
as you said at the very beginning, it's best to go into to both films completely blind, right? Especially this one here, right? Especially if you didn't see the trailer for it, right? Because thankfully the trailer doesn't really give you too much of what it's about, right? So what it centers on, right? It's a French film, right? It's directed
Yeah.
by Julia Ducournau. Ducournau, if I got the surname wrong, forgive me, right? I covered actually her debut feature, Raw, back in 2016. This was in the
Right.
early days of BS Beats and Media, right?
Yeah.
I liked it for what it was, though, but although I don't remember what I said back then, I was a little let down by the end of it. And,
Right. Well, all
just,
right.
yeah.
So what I do remember about that, I didn't understand why the sister ended up like that. That's why I couldn't follow.
Right, right, right.
I couldn't really
But
follow that
they do
particular.
hint at it at the very end with the conversation scene. That's all we
Right.
say. That's part of the ending, right?
Yeah. But right.
But
Exactly.
yeah. But the funny thing is, right? So I was supposed to talk about this last week, but you didn't see it and you wanted to see it, right? So I was like,
Right.
all right,
Right.
this is cool. So I could actually talk to somebody about it, right? Like literally,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I did not rewatch this movie here, but I did rewatch Raw, right? And I actually like grew to appreciate it. No, like I'm still not in love with it though, but I could understand why people were so hyped by it though. It's a very, very, very well made film though, a very impressive debut, I must say, from Julia.
Right.
And it really does capitalize on its cannibalistic premise though, in a very, very
Right.
smart and provocative way. And that's a word I'm going to use
Yeah.
for
That
this review here,
yeah.
provocative way.
What made Raw work is because of that. Because it's not just the central conceit, but you find out like they reveal information in interesting ways, and then the
Yes,
implication at
yes,
the end is like, oh shit, this actually bringing up something really disturbing if you think about it. Like,
exactly.
uh, at least a working implication, and I really dug that. The ending is great. I love the ending of Raw, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
what
I was about to say, I
that
actually do
last yeah
appreciate the ending of Raw to it.
yeah
It's
that last shot
very, yeah, it's
yeah
very blunt into the dark humor though, but it
right
works. It totally works. Yeah.
right
And really the key of that movie now, and the same thing with this movie here, is that you have a very compelling lead character, right? So in
right
this case, is the character of Alexia, right? Or
yeah
yeah, well, Alexia. I'm gonna say the other name in a little bit, right? And you'll understand what I mean in a little bit, right?
right
So without spoiling anything, what happens is that we see her at a young age. She was involved in a car accident. As a result, she has this titanium plate fitted into her head, right?
right
So we cut to years later now, and she's basically like this showgirl. I don't want to say stripper, but this showgirl
right
basically
yeah
at like this really lavish car show basically. So
right
she's all gyrating and flexing and stuff like that in front of cars and getting guys' attention. You know what I mean? So it's like
right
that, right? And then something pretty weird and fucked up takes place
right
on that same night, and
right
that results in her becoming pregnant. That's all you'll see, right?
right.
So
Well,
one thing
yeah,
really,
if you say there's two things happen that fucked up, like at
I
this
know, I know, I know.
right
Yeah,
right
but yeah, we right. So what we can see is that yeah, she gets pregnant, right?
right
And that sort of just messes with her mind though
right
in a way that no one will see coming. That's all we'll see. But
yes
along with all that now, because of her just going off now, she runs into this elderly firefighter by the name of Vincent, right?
right
Played by Vincent Lindon, right? And he himself, well, he's still married and all that kind of stuff, right? But he's going through a period of his life, right? You know what I mean? His son was believed, lost now, like disappeared now. So through some circumstances, sorry, yeah, Alexia, who now calls herself Adrian, meets
right
Vincent, and they form this bond. But at the same time, there's this pregnancy, but you know, at the same time now that is affecting her in a very a very weird and just monstrous way, right? So, yes, jump into the review here. This is yet another body horror film, right? And I realize this is a thing that Julia's into, right? She's very much into modern body horror, right? So you
Right,
could tell, yeah, she is probably like a huge fan of David Cronenberg, right? Okay,
right, right, right,
he's like
right.
the OG when it comes to body horror, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Going into this, right, I just knew bits of of information about it, right? And the premise of it was just so out there and so messed up. Like, not even messed up. We're just gonna say fucked up. Just really, really fucked up, right? It sounds very, you know, how to say it sounds not even artsy or artistic. It just sounds like something depraved, something just insane, right?
Right,
And somehow Julia makes it just captivating to watch. Like you sort of you sort of sickened a bit.
right,
You're kind of wondering where things are going at
right,
many points in the show, but she always keeps you engaged, right? Similar
right.
to Raw, this is very, very, very well shot.
Yeah,
This is a yeah, just exquisitely made film, I must say, right?
yeah,
Of course, similar to Raw, there's some really smart usage of light, of color, and of music as well too, right? And similar to Raw as well, she touches a lot on gender, especially the male gaze. I realize like her films are centered on the male gaze. So in this case, it's about how guys look at Alexia, how they see her, right? Being strong, independent, but she's not like the typical sexy babe individual, right? She
right,
holds
right,
her
right,
own, right? But yet guys look at her in a somewhat sexual manner, right? So
right,
throughout the show, her character, or at least her features, literally kind of dissolve like in front of her eyes now. You know what I mean? And even like when you see her, there's moments where you see her undressed, and she doesn't even look like the male fantasy of
well,
what they
right.
wanted
So
a woman to
that's
say.
the thing
It
with
does
it.
have her.
I was okay. So well, I wanted to just finish first, but that's the thing
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
kind of plain. It was playing with gender a lot in that
yeah.
way, but
Which I
because I
didn't
really
expect.
thought, yeah, I was really thought, but that didn't really go anywhere. To be honest, but anyway, continue until
True,
I'll
true,
bring
true.
the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So acting wise, I thought was excellent. Shorty board. Agathe Rosell, who plays Alexia, I thought that she was great though. She's given a lot of demanding and punishing scenes. Actually, like Julia just literally puts her through the ringer though. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Throughout the show, like there's moments that will make you wince, moments that will make you squirm. You know what I mean? Just seeing what she has to go through, but at the same time, there's some moments where you're like, all right, why would you do this? You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing that the show really does. It kind of shows that Alexia is not right in the head, literally, because she does a number of things that just make little to no sense. But what I mean is, in terms of like, is the last thing that you would think that the character would do to survive. That's all we'll say, right? But it's just done in this really, really bleak, dark, extreme style now. So
right,
it's like you're wondering if you should laugh at it or just be like, all right, this is just fucked up. You know what I mean? The direction as to where the story was going
right,
caught me completely by surprise. And like the more I think about it, though, it works for the most part. But there are a few instances where I was like, all right, you really think this was like a smart call, or like this really needs to be in the show? So case in point, the first third of it, like especially like what happens after that night I mentioned, it goes into like a completely different direction. And I was thinking, okay, this is the direction it's going, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, I felt it was just there for shock value. It was just there to just kind of get a rise out of people to disturb them, and then it just goes into this completely different direction where it aims more
right,
towards drama and family drama really. And I was just like, all right, well, it clashes a lot now. You know what I mean? Just those arcs speak those that transition, I should say, really really clashes, right? And all through the while, you're just kind of there, like in my head, I was just thinking it's about what happened with the pregnancy and what it's going to lead up to, but it not exactly that though. It just really shows her character and how she sees the world. That's all you say.
right.
And as far as the payoff goes, though, if I have another gripe, though, I don't know. I just felt like the payoff wasn't worth it, man. Like like it
Right.
just builds towards like, oh my god, this is gonna be something so gross and disgusting. And then when you see, it's
Right.
like, well, not really. And you're
I
wondering if
was
it's a
right.
budget issue or
Yeah.
if it's just what Julia wanted. So I just felt like premise.
I
Sorry, the payoff was a bit of a letdown for me, man.
yeah, I
And kind of how
I
you're thinking about the journey as a whole, and I understand the journey goes in all different directions, though. But I just felt like that particular point is where you could have just hit audiences in the stomach, literally, right? And it kind of doesn't really do that. It tries to aim for the heartstrings, but it just didn't hit the mark for me, unfortunately.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Ricardo, take it away. Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you. I thought this was a little aimless, right? Um, I didn't like. She played with a lot of ideas because I really thought, okay, they're gonna pay it off by having this, or maybe they're gonna do something involving transgenderism, or they're gonna do something
Yes.
involving this, that, and it doesn't really go anywhere or pay off. And then the ending, it's just a bunch of like, well, she just kind of want to use special effects and the body horror shock value just to have a payoff for the ending. And it wasn't that interesting of an ending. Like I
Yeah.
again. So now here's the thing, it's one of these movies I probably have to give a rewatch. It's that, or somebody in who went to grad school in literature gonna have a 40 minutes lecture, video essay and
Yeah,
lecture on
and
subtext
well,
links
sorry
and
to cut you there though, because I've seen a couple of reviews when people like real diving in deep and talking about
yeah,
like the inner meanings and even
right,
right down to her being pregnant and what that
right.
means and all that kind of
because
stuff. Now,
because it reminded me a
like,
little
all
bit
right,
of, you can remember, I was wondering if it was like something like, say, Enemy, where you're not sure if the person delusional now, like, because the whole thing is about it started with her having this massive head injury and having a titanium plate in her head. So I was thinking, all right, well, everything derived from that in terms of delusion, like, is a kind of Don Quixote kind of weirdness going down now, and
yeah,
none
yeah,
of this actually
I thought
happened,
so too. Yeah, and it's
right? But
part of
then,
horror too. You know, what I mean, the whole
exactly,
something's wrong with my mind and I'm seeing
yeah,
all these
right.
weird things. You
Right,
know, yeah,
mine's too, right? Exactly. And but the thing is, no, the evidence seemed to be showing that it actually happened in terms of the actual body horror. It's like, wait, the other character seeing this, what going on exactly? And that's what kind of was throwing me off now. You're not sure what real or not, but if other
yeah.
characters seen it, then it had to be real, maybe.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
the
where,
worst part about it too, though, is that they don't answer it. Like,
exactly,
I know. Like in the genre of horror, you don't have to answer every single question,
right,
right? But because it's playing, well, slight spoiler, mostly towards drama,
right.
especially in that transition I mentioned there, it's just kind of like, well, okay, well, you're still gonna explain how this thing is even possible? No,
Right.
okay,
That
all
that's
right,
that's the thing. Exactly, because it effectively becomes a sci-fi. Like, it dies with it.
yeah,
And
it is,
it's a
yeah,
like and sorry, I don't want to spoil it by some transhumanism shenanigans going down, right? Like, you're not sure what's going on in that. And because it was so unclear, and to me felt a little aimless, I couldn't get into it anywhere near as much as what Raw was. Raw had a very straightforward conceit that was
yes,
revealed to us throughout the story, right?
mm-hmm.
By the time you reach to the end of it, it's like, oh shit, that is what's going on. Great. This didn't have that, right? This had a I'm not sure what's going on thing. It's still unclear. I get the feeling that she wanted to do 2 or 3 scripts, and she didn't make a choice. Like, that's how it felt to me.
Right,
Like, that's how it felt to me. Like, she could have do this, and she could have do this, and she decided to mash both in one. And that's why it didn't really come together. Because I really thought a lot of it was going to be playing, like, on the one end, I thought it was going to play with gender, right? Because there's a whole part of the story involving the fireman and what he was about, and we saw that on the news. Then they didn't really do that, and then I thought they was going to play straightforward with, I was going to say reverse of Christine. That's all I'll say, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I thought they were going to do that, and that doesn't seem to pay off either. Like, it wasn't clear to me what's going on, and that's how it felt.
And especially like in the first act now, like I said before, where she takes this completely different well, this really twisted direction, as all we'll
Right,
see. Like I thought, like, okay, so the show is going to capitalize on that. So this is the
right,
horror part of the body
right,
horror, right? But
right.
it still
And
just came off as just shock value for the sake of it.
yeah, I get that feeling as well. Because I really thought we was gonna get into like female sociopathy and psychopathy, right? Kind of like how we call it, Gone Girl was like, right? You have a person, and because a big early part in the storyline, she effectively being hunted down by the police, and you learn why. But then they don't pay that off either, in my opinion.
No, yeah,
So I don't know. It was just a kind of a mess that don't really balance so particularly well. I don't hate it, but they really could have do more with this. Like, it really could have just gelled together. As keep using that term, right? It don't gel together particularly well. But it's not bad. I
Yeah,
don't know.
agreed. Agreed.
The thing is, again, I had to give this a rewatch to get some proper analysis and breakdown. Somebody gonna do that. As I said, I too lazy for that bullshit. I have no time for that. But somebody on YouTube gonna the YouTube algorithm gonna recommend to me some 40 minute video essay that'll break it down for me, kinda maybe. I ain't sure, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's
even
off.
still, I don't even think the explanation might make a lot of sense, though. You know what I mean?
Well, somebody,
And that's
no,
the
no,
problem
that's
with
the thing,
shows
eh?
like this, though. You
I'll
know?
give you an example. As I said, the movie that it reminds me of is like Enemy, right? Enemy was like that, where Enemy, um, I didn't have a clue what was going on in Enemy. I never read the book, and a couple people did a couple explanations of it. Now, admittedly, it's some real Freudian kind of free association kind of bullshit, but the explanations made sense, like to me at least. Like, all right, I could understand that, right? A couple people made a couple explanations. I think what's his name? The fellow you follow Stockman.
Oh yeah, Chris Stockman
Yeah,
did
he had
a
one
great
direct
video.
breakdown.
Was sorry, it was more actually it was an analysis video, not a breakdown, an
Right.
analysis on it. Yeah.
But to me his thing was like, okay, I remember listening to him and I was like, oh, that made kind of sense. I don't know if you're right, but it made sense. Like at least I have that. So but this didn't make sense at all. And I don't know where I'm gonna get. I don't know what they're gonna pull from for me to enjoy it now. Because the thing is
Yeah.
how to make some sense. I don't like pull from it in something for it to make sense to me now, at least. But yeah, that's about it. I
Right.
rating it's well made, so I'll give it a 7, but that's a low 7, going close to a 6 to be honest. Um I don't know. I didn't. It just had to gel together for me to enjoy it. But like the moments where it was popping off and going wild, I was enjoying it. Especially that early sequence of the party. I like,
Yeah.
wait, what going on in this party exactly? And you're not sure what the party about. He's like, wait,
Mhm.
why this very large black man naked? Like I'm not sure what's
I
going on.
know, right?
Yeah, but
Which I felt it just did for humor. I felt out,
that's the
yeah,
thing.
that was clearly for humor.
That's the thing. It feel like she had like a bunch of ideas and a lot of it didn't come together particularly well. Um, not and all of the ideas good, but they're not they're not they're not roping in. It's good ideas, but they don't mix together. That's all I'll say.
Right. I agree with you for the most part, man. And I know at year's end, people are gonna put this up as the best of the year because they've never seen anything so provocative and so wild and so extreme in their life, right? And again, it's from France, right? So
Right.
right? But still, I do agree with you, though. As unique as these ideas are, it really would have helped if things just kind of gelled together and flowed properly, as
Yeah.
opposed to just going in all these different directions. And I mean, I understand. Yes, you have this lead character that is fascinating, I would say, to watch, right? But it's even harder now when she just does a bunch of things, and you're just left like, all right, why would you do that? Even right down to her, the circumstances would lead to her meeting Vincent. Like even that, and I was just like, why would
Yeah.
you do that though? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, that was
props
it.
to Agathe. Well, Agathe, if that's a name, for really pushing herself like to the limit, though, like physically
Right.
throughout this film though, because yeah, this clearly was not an easy film
Yeah.
to make,
Yeah.
man. And she just commit to it, right? At the end of the day, I do see this as just Julia just pushing the envelope even further.
Right.
She just clearly just wanted to get a rise out of people, right?
Right. Right.
And it's up to you whether you like that or not, right? And people will dive in and try to get all these meanings out of it. I don't
Right.
think it really makes any sense, but I'll be
Right.
looking out for a video to explain it, but I don't think it really would
Eventually,
matter.
I tell you, I go and pop up. I go and pop up on YouTube. I'm gonna see it. Like it's just gonna show up. Like okay, and then I'll click it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what I mean. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I couldn't
But
follow it.
go on.
I couldn't follow it as is, to be honest. In that sense, like
Neither me.
what the connection is or what the true line is. Somebody might make sense if it don't tell me. As is.
Yeah.
However,
And
yeah.
yeah, and at the end of the day, though, I mean, it's very well made and all that kind of stuff, but it really does feel like 3, 4 ideas literally cobbled together into one film. I felt
Right.
she could have just stuck with just one idea and just push it to its furthest extreme now, you know what I mean? As opposed to 3, 4 ideas and then making it think, oh, well, it has a deeper meaning, but I just don't get it because of how weird it is, right? But at the end of the day, I'm gonna give this a light 3 out of 5, man. It's
Right.
right for what it is, but I would admit I did come out of it like, all right, this was the most shocking film of the year though. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it probably would have been for me though, but if the story just
And
stuck a lot more, I would have
yeah,
been like,
that
all right,
is
now I
yeah,
understand. Now
and
I
it's not
see
it's
why y'all call it like so shocking and disturbing. But
right.
for me, it was just like, yeah, shock value for the sake of it, but it
Right.
doesn't really
But
last. It doesn't
yeah,
linger on. That's all I'll say.
but that's the sad part too because I went in completely blind. Like I don't know what to expect
Oh,
or
okay. So you didn't know about the pregnancy
no,
stuff. Oh,
I didn't nothing. Like I went to
oh,
come
okay,
as
okay,
blind as I could. I just hear this movie was shocking. That's all I knew. Like, all right, let me see. I didn't see anything. I just went in as blind as I could, and I still
right.
was underwhelmed, to be honest, which is a bad sign. So it's like, well,
Yeah, it is, Wes. But I mean, Julia really has a future as far as just provocative, envelope
right,
pushing body horror films. So
right,
yeah,
right.
can't wait to see what she does next, man.
Yeah.
So moving from France now to Iceland, let's talk about E24's latest
All
opus,
right. So we have
Lamb.
we move from car fucking movie to Papa Boy.
Yeah, and that's like the only spoiler we will give for Titane, by the way, right?
Right,
But yeah,
right.
Lamb. Well, okay, so there was a trailer for it that E24 dropped. I saw it when it came out. And I was like, okay, this is the new film from it. Released from E24. Okay. Numi Rapace, isn't it? All right, I know
Yeah,
her. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But this is a directorial debut from a I'm not even gonna pronounce this guy's name. Okay, I'll try. Vladimir Johansson or Johansson, right?
okay.
Um, First time I hear this guy, right? About this guy's story. So without spoiling too much here neither, we are introduced to a couple who basically have this band in Iceland, right?
Right.
The couple is Maria, who is played by Numi, and Ingvar. I'm not even gonna pronounce the guy's name, right? Yeah, but he is from Iceland as well, right? And their lives is just pretty much simple, kind of dull. You know what I mean? They have sheep. You know what I mean? They raise sheep as well, right? And through I don't want to say through some circumstances, right? But one day, they realize that a sheep of theirs actually gave birth to uh human slash sheep hybrid, right?
Right.
So the couple just decide, well, let's just let me just take it for our own, right? Because it kind of
Yeah.
learned later on that Maria actually lost her child, right?
Right.
So years ago, right? So they call it Ida. And they just raise it, as if it's their own son, right? Of
Yeah.
course, the child grows up now and, everything seems normal. But then someone else is brought into the picture that would be Ingvar's brother Peter,
Right.
if I got the name wrong, forgive me, right?
Yep.
And he's
Peter.
all like, yeah. And he's all like watching this thing like, what the hell is this, right?
Yeah.
But even
Right.
he and all gets into it too because
Right.
I guess just like everybody else, and I won't lie, he that kind of cute though. I mean, even though
Right.
it's basically a girl's body, but a sheep's head, basically that's
Right.
what it is, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we just kind of seeing how things play out, but things kind of turn for the worse later on. That's all we'll say. So Ricardo, honest thoughts on Lambe, and
I
and
thought this.
and in particular to I wanted to, if you could at least relate it to what we've seen before with E24, because I mean, not to say that we've seen all of E24's films, right? But we've pretty much been championing their films for a hot minute now. I think
Right.
ever since Hereditary came out, right? In
No, not
terms
for
of
long
just
before that actually.
oh, with sorry, with Moonlight. I think yeah, that was
Well,
our
even
first.
before that, like the
All
hot
right,
minute,
well,
we hyping
Well,
it,
for
we hyping
Ahmed,
them
right?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot
I,
minute,
I
we
just
hyping them up.
remember like the first real like the first real instance, sorry, that I was like, okay, 8 to 4 is a company to look out for.
But
Was it Moonlight, right? Back in
they didn't do
2016.
Vivitch.
Yes,
They didn't do.
duh.
Yeah,
Yes.
they
That
do.
was
No, they
our
do their
first
movies, man. They do
introduction.
their movies, man.
Yes,
No, it's
yes.
a hot minute. I hyping them up, man. Um,
Yeah. So in
I
relation to what we know and expect from them, right? Yeah. When you thought about this movie.
I loved it. I thought it was great. But I wasn't super hyped on it. But it's good. Like good. Like pretty damn good. But I dug the hell out of it. I didn't think I didn't okay, so kind of a mistake. I didn't go into this as blind as I thought it was because I did watch a double toasted review of it before. That's the only thing. Um,
Okay, I watched it afterwards, and
right.
I pretty much agree with them too. You know what I mean? Yeah.
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 But because I went in, I should have gone in a little earlier. Um, if I went in as blind, I would have enjoyed this more, to be honest. But I thought it was great. Like when it pays off well, it works well. Um, I dug the hell out of it and had fun with it, and it works for what it's trying to do. It just it makes you give a shit about it makes you give a shit about what do you call it? About this sheep girl. This is like pretty much it.
Yeah. She
Uh,
killed. Yeah.
yeah, and they make it work. The how to describe this, right? It's very grounded and humanistic. They explain where the child comes from. I really thought it was something grosser, but this
Yeah, we all did. We
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 all did,
all
right?
did.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the kind of the running joke about it. Um, yeah, I liked it. I really liked it. Why this works? All right. So the main strength of this film and why it works is because these people mastered something. There's a little something you learn very little in film. Not sure how scientific it is, but it's called the Kuleshov effect. But for
All right,
animals,
I've heard of it, but you mind like reminding me
right?
what it is?
So you learn very early in film class that hey, if you show like an image just gross you out, and then they show a blank face, you're gonna get a good a semblance of you're gonna ascribe meaning onto the person's face. So it'll show you something disgusting, but you show a blank face, that means you assume the person might be disgusted. Or if you show something erotic and then you show a blank face, you make the assumption that the person's gonna be aroused in similar fashion to you. The idea is that you're projecting yourself onto a blank face. But the point is that the face is the same face. That's the point of the thing, that the editing matters more than the reaction of the face. The person doesn't have to react at all. Good editing factors more than supposed actors. That's the idea, right? That's how at least I understand it. They show the same face, they cut to something and then they cut it back. In this film, you have a human animal hybrid, and everybody's grossed out by it except for the two main characters, right? And including a bunch of animals. You have a bunch of animals in the farm, and all the
Yes,
animals be
yes.
like, what the fuck going on here? That's
There's
how you
there's
get
there's one female sheep that they keep cutting back to. Why?
right, but
Every time I
but
saw it, I thought it was
sheep's
so funny. Just
sheep's
like,
so
oh
so
yeah, like what going
Ada's
on?
so Ada's mother, biological mother, that is a factor. Because you're not sure if she kind of concerned about, well, if they're taking care of my child properly, you know. That is one. So you get that emotional conceit. Again, all of these are animals, eh? And let's be clear, in terms of actual science, animals have emotions and whatnot. So you could ascribe these things to it. But at the same time, it's just like you treat them, you're humanizing them as well. It's what you call it, anthropomorphizing them, right? And it have this dog dread. The dog, like
Yes, I forgot the name of
dog
the
be like,
dog, but no, I think
let's see what going
the
on
name
here.
of it was dog.
Yeah, the dog
Yeah,
and a cat, just little animals all around the farm. So it's like a super disturbing version of Babe. Like that's how it feels. Like
yes.
it's like
That's the
Babe, but
perfect
super
film to
dark,
reference. Yeah.
right? And that's how it feels. And it was just that edited. Just they show this thing, they cut it, they cut back. They like Ada walks into like this, like when they introduce Peter in the breakfast, and then he just watch them, he watch back, they cut, and they make it work. And I don't think it meant to be a funny movie, but that shit is to be the source of humor. And that was hilarious. Like just the whole time, everybody who's not, except for the couple and Ada herself.
Mm.
Oh, let's see what fucking going on here. It's like that's how it is. That's the whole movie. And it works. You really, really feel for them. You really get concerned for Ada. And then when they reveal what going on, well, you learn where Ada comes from. And I thought it was gonna be I thought it was gonna be supernatural in a certain way, but no, that's not what it is. It is supernatural. Like I think it's safe to say that this is a supernatural movie. It's not some Dr. Moreau shenanigans. Uh, I do like the payoff. It's simple, very simple. It works, and then the ending is pretty not super disturbing. It just but pretty dark, and it works. And they just play it off for what it was, especially involving Numira Pace and a certain sheep. That was kind of rough.
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, E24 and the senseless killing of animals, right? I mean,
Nah,
Roman
nah.
Lightos.
No, but it not senseless in this case because you
All
totally
right, yeah,
understand
I
what
try to be vague here, but
right,
yeah.
especially knowing what she going through, right? Um, but yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. But it is, I'll say the only conceit of it is that it's a little slow. That's the only problem. A little on the slow
Yeah.
end. But I thought that kind of worked on its own framing in terms of like the pace, and because you're like, hey, what going on here? And then when they reveal like the special effects not perfect, but it good enough. Like they cut around it enough to make it work. When they reveal what you're seeing, Cause they remember when the child was born, it just drop and they watch each other. Again, it's all reaction shots. Like it's whole thing is reaction shots. When they watch each other, they're like, okay, you don't know what's going on. And then at the end of the first act, the first wait is part one, or I forget chapter one or whatever it is.
Chapters, yeah.
We see what's going on. That reveal the story. Like, all right, the story start. I like, all right, yeah, I could see what they have me, and they keep me. And then they reveal Peter. They reveal Peter have a little thing with the mother. I forget she name. I forget the mother name. The human mother.
Maria.
Yeah, right. Peter, he has something going on with she. Them have a history. They play on that. They try to play on the whole. He try to blackmail she a little bit. That was going, but that was the source of the drama. And then when they reveal the final conceit of what going on, everything play off. Like, all right, that's it. In and out. Story done. It could have been a little shorter. That's the only answer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I would have shave off, but in my head, I feel like I could have shave off for 20 minutes from this, maybe. Not sure. But I felt all of that 20 minutes is a character stuff. And again, reaction shots. Because the idea is people have to be looking at each other. And, as I say, the longer you look at each other, that means it's more drama. In terms of cut, count, cut, you cut again, you cut back, you cut back again, shot, counter shot. You play with that. That's the whole film. It's just that's the strength of the filmmaking. Everything is about these reaction shots. Reaction shot to the cat, reaction shot to the dog, reaction shot to the other animals. What going on here? And everybody just like where it's called that in taking common knowledge, the quote unquote sheep in the room, right? To borrow
Yeah.
elephant. That's it is. It's just an elephant in the room type movie. It's just that sheer tension of everybody like, yeah, what the fuck going on here? Like I say, without saying it. And it works. It really works in that sense. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, you just say a piece and I'll give a rating.
All right. I if I have one major gripe with this show though, like as much as I love, as we, as I praise, I should say, 8 to 4 films, and the originality that comes with it, and the artistry that comes with it though,
Right.
I felt like just, yeah, it does run at a snail's pace, haha, right?
Right.
And like, I understand it's to the benefit of the film, but I felt it was a little to the detriment. In the sense that, like, some scenes or shots will just kind of play off for a while, and you kind of understand that, okay, they just set up the idea that, just things run really slow, like time just kind of stands still in a sense, right? But yeah, it really did make the film, you kind of got the sense of how long the film was. That's all I'll say, right? Even though the movie clocks in at about, like, what, an hour and 45 minutes, right? But you really do feel the length of it because of how slow things are, and you feel like it's intentional, but
Right.
almost to the point like it's almost challenging your view. Like, okay, can you, like, okay, like, the premise is weird enough, right? But can you sit through it in this slow fashion? You know what I mean? And I know for some
Right.
people that will be like a immediate turn off, right?
Right.
Um, and not just because of the premise, of course, but just because of the pacing, right? So yeah,
Right.
I just felt like pacing wise could have been a lot tighter, just given, really because of how simple the story is at the end of the day. And I was surprised at how simple the story was, because I was just there like, all right, something way more weirder and more complex going to take place. But actually, no, it just kind of plays things out really,
Yeah.
really straightforward. That actually surprised me. Like, it caught me completely by surprise now, you know what I mean? And I really do like how both Numi and what's his face, who plays her husband, just play it straight through.
Right.
One thing that they do well, like you see a lot of reaction shots though. Very sparse use of dialogue, do it. I mean, which
Yeah. Yeah.
also caught me by
All of
surprise
that
too,
was good. This is one of those movies I legitimately miss, like going to theaters for. Now, this is the kind of stuff you had to go to Gemstone for, right? You know, a small screen, a glass of wine, and you just soak it in. And you just soak in the weirdness. Because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
really works in that way though. For that thing. Whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I understand. Yeah, yeah. And speaking of Gemstone, boy, goddamn, boy, this cinematography, boy,
Yeah, yeah, pretty
whoo,
good.
yeah.
Again, it's a lot of talent involved. Like nothing about it. Like I was it again. It's a 8 to 4 movie. They had recent Spring Breakers, right? They're gonna get the best of the
Yes.
best in terms of talent, right?
Right, right, right.
Right,
How can I forget, right?
right.
I showed that I championed when it came out back then,
Yes,
right? Back 20.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Right. But yeah, yeah. Yeah. So this is very, very artsy. I don't want to say artsy fartsy, but some people going like, yeah, this is all like weird, pretentious shit. But actually, no.
Right,
It really does feel like, one of those shows. And I would actually compare it a little bit now. Make a contrast, I would say, to Titan now,
right.
where it has a weird premise, but it sticks to it and just
Right.
carries it
And
out to
follows
its
through.
most
Yes.
logical
Yes.
conclusion. It
Right.
doesn't divert
Because
and go into different directions,
the conclusion
just
makes sense.
get a shock out here.
Yeah, the conclusion makes perfect sense.
It
You
does,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And seeing and another thing, well, I didn't expect, that's the theme of loss, right?
Right.
Especially with the character that Numi plays, right? I can understand now in terms of that. Well, this is one of those shows where the character doesn't have to stop to say, "Oh, this is why I'm adopting this
Right.
hybrid," right?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
even a
Yeah. Yeah.
moment where the guy's brother asks, "What are you doing with this thing?" And he just says one word in it, and it just more or less sums up
Right.
why she
Right.
does, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they get into like so. It have one moment involving Peter and Ada. Again, he was really the tension was going up, and then they
Yes,
cut
yes,
back,
yes.
and then they cut back. And it's like, okay, that
That
makes
was
sense.
great though. I
Yeah.
love how they do
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all we'll say. But it caught it,
Right.
it caught me, and
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
it will catch you by surprise, right?
Right. Right.
But yeah, yeah. Like I said, cinematography is breathtaking. I must say though, you really feel the coolness of the area and the environment. Even right now,
Right.
to that
Yeah.
opening
True.
shot, great opening shot by the way. And I love how it sets up the possibility of something dark in
Right.
this world.
No.
As
Okay. So
always,
that here's the thing with that. I would that I feel like I personally would have cut that because that feel like the opening to Predator, where it kind of sell out the
oh.
thing.
Right. Oh,
Remember
you would have cut
Predators?
that. I
I
probably would have added a little later into the
no
film, like
no. I would have straight
maybe
up
before the end of the first chapter. Like
right
sorry, at the end of the first chapter. Because by the way, there's three chapters in it, right?
right
Yeah, that would have been a great way to end that first chapter if it was up
right.
to me.
No, I would have cut it because I wanted to keep the mystery because I really thought it was something grosser involved with the formation of Ada and it was some Dr. Moreau shenanigans now. It could still be maybe but like I felt that felt more plausible given the
Right.
situation. It felt more. That's all I'll say. It felt more plausible. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really felt that I would have personally cut that whole sequence.
Okay.
Quite to me, it kind of sold it out now a little bit. Like, oh, okay,
Oh,
it have this, blah blah blah. This
yeah.
introduced this. That's all I felt about it.
I
However,
felt it was vague enough though, but what I
right,
will say
right,
though,
right.
unfortunately, is that it does make you feel like okay, this is going to be a horror, right? And like I don't know, like I knew it was going to be a drama, but I kind of just felt like going in like we were going to get some because it's unique, it's not natural, so it's supernatural, right? So I thought we were going to go into a little horror direction, and I felt that was
Right,
what the in that particular scene was setting up, but actually
right.
no, not really. It was just kind of sort of setting the tone of what to expect later on, right? That's all you say, right?
Yeah,
And the payoff actually was worth it. I would say though, it a gut punch. I must say though, the ending, like actually that final shot was something
yeah,
I didn't see coming as well too. It's
right.
very simple, but
But it
it
makes
works. That's
sense.
all you say. It
Yeah, yeah, it
works.
makes sense. It makes sense. Like at least it makes sense. And again, I say it a little earlier. I don't want to say it again to spoil it, but I said it earlier. And I don't know enough about where this is Iceland or wherever it is.
Yeah.
Right. So is I don't know enough about Icelandic law to say, all right, they die where they pull it from or
Oh, I don't even think it is.
okay,
I don't even think it is law at all. I think it's just
right,
just invented for the show, but I could be wrong, right?
right.
I just want to mention just one last thing before we get to it, right? The song choice that they used at the very end I thought was pretty interesting because if you're a Stanley Kubrick fan and if you're familiar with the movie Barry Lyndon, which in my opinion is the best, was I should say one of my all time favorite costume drama. There's a particular song that this operatic song that's used, this
Right.
classical song, sorry, that just sets up this very sad, bleak tone.
Yeah,
And
right.
I thought it was interesting that they play it at the very end. But without spoiling anything, though, if you remember when it was introduced into the movie, it involves a particular character's death and is
Right.
still one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
It kind of hints if you're familiar with the movie, that is, it kind of hints at what to expect or what you should
Right.
expect
Right.
by the final shot, right? That's all I would say, right? But yeah, this was different. That's all I'll say. It was just totally
Yeah,
different.
it did it did
It
I find it did its own thing. It was in and out. Didn't overcomplicate it. It was just about you totally understand everybody's decision making in this given the situation. That's what I liked
right,
about it.
agreed. Yeah,
Straightforward. It actually avoids all the problems I have with Titan or Titan, whatever it is. And in that sense, that Yeah, it really straightforward. It's a crazy situation, but it works. And yeah, I really dug this. I really had fun with it, to be
It
honest.
is,
Just
yeah,
but it was a little slow. It was a little on the slow end.
yeah.
Right.
The slowness of it is going to be a challenge, boy. And even for me, if I revisit it, which I really do want to, right?
Right.
If I can say one last thing, sorry. As far as E24, products go, right? Admittedly, I don't think that this is one of their best films, right?
Right. Me too. Yeah.
But
Okay.
but
Yeah.
what's interesting though, I must say, is that it really does feel like this was just this guy's Vladimir's idea. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you notice at the very beginning, there's like a shit ton of like, distributed by and
Right.
all these different companies and foundations involved there. And this almost felt like this was part of the film festival route, and E24 just saw this and like, wow, we need to
Yeah.
have this in our catalog. So it feels like that. Because there's
Yeah. They
just
push for
so
it. Yeah.
much titles and names that show up there. You know what I mean? So it really feels like this was this guy's singular vision. And
Yeah.
E24 was like, all right, I get your vision. And we're all about just showing people, bringing unconventional films, art films to the mainstream now. So I
Right.
felt like it was that, but it didn't feel like, oh, E24 is the one that presented this. It really felt like it was the director, and he got all these people involved, and E24 was the people who's like, okay, this is we're gonna bring this film to the masses now. This is not gonna be a film festival thing. We're gonna put this out to the masses now. And yeah, I mean, props to them for really doing that, though, for really finding this gem and put it out there for the world to see for themselves, man. So
Right.
rating wise for me, I'm gonna give this a light decent 3.5 out of 5, man. I think it's worth checking out, right? It's
Right.
not
Right. Right.
one of my favorite releases from E24, and I don't think it will be, but it is one of the most unique I've seen in them in a long while, though. And you really have to applaud this company for just having the balls, like literally the balls, to put something out like this. Because any other studio would have just been like, nope, that's not for us. We we
Yeah.
we like stuff that brings butts into seats. That like, oh my god, this is so weird and artsy and shocking. I need to see this for
Right.
myself, right? And I fear this is the audience is going to go and see that. Everybody else is going to stay clear of it, especially with the
For real.
implications,
Eh?
of
For
how
real. Eh?
that baby is born. But I still say, yeah, it really does deserve, a watch though. But just go in with expectations low, especially if you have pretty high standards of E24, and you should appreciate it, man. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
if
not.
this
It's
is
not.
for you, give it a look, man.
Yeah, I agree. It's not close to my favorite 84 film, but it's still pretty, like I enjoyed it. Like I dug it for what it was. And yeah, it was worth my time. I don't feel like I waste my time at all.